Hello everybody, I hope you're all well. So today's video is going to be the second part to my video series about the reality show The Biggest Loser. If you haven't watched part one, I'm either going to link it on the screen or I'll stick it in the description box. Make sure you go and watch the first part before watching this part, otherwise this isn't going to make any sense. And just before I get into it, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Raycon. Raycon specialise in affordable wireless earbuds like these ones here. Not only do they look good because of their compact design, but because of their rubber oil look and their optimized gel tips, they're also really comfortable. And as most of you guys know, YouTube is my full-time job, so I use my Raycon earbuds all the time, whether it's editing videos, whether it is listening to podcasts for research, or if I want to listen to some lo-fi hip-hop beats to study and relax to whilst I'm scripting a video, they're great for that as well. Raycons have more bass, so the audio quality is always really good, and on top of that, their use doesn't just end at listening to music. Raycons also come with a built-in microphone, so I can add voiceovers to my videos whenever needed. I also use my Raycons when I'm, on the go, like a girl boss, whether I'm walking somewhere, getting the bus, getting the tube. And because of Raycon's 8-hour playtime and 32-hour battery life, I don't have to worry about them dying when I'm out and about. They really easily connect to any device using Bluetooth. Raycon earbuds start at half the price of most premium brands, and they're still really good quality. And Raycon also do offer a 45-day free return policy, and you don't necessarily need to buy a pair for yourself. As we know, the holidays around the corner, people love gift giving. Raycons do make a good present if you have a family member who commutes to and from work every day, if you have a friend who loves podcasts. It's a good present for so many different people. To unlock exclusive deals and up to 20% off your Raycon order, make sure you use my link in the description, which is buyraycon.com/jordantheresa. Thank you again, Raycon, for sponsoring today's video. Part 5, the long-term effects. In my last video, we finished off on discussing the shady things which allegedly happened behind the scenes on the show The Biggest Loser. And some of you guys may be thinking that the shittiness of The Biggest Loser just ended there, that these contestants had really negative experience on the show, but it's done now. Well, actually, a lot of these contestants are having to deal with long-term health effects of going on this show. A lot of you guys may not know this, but a lot of the contestants who went on the show have actually gained the weight back or have gained even more, and this actually caught the attention of a lot of medical professionals and doctors who wanted to know how this happened when all of these contestants were given all the resources and support they needed to lose weight. Firstly, I think it's pretty obvious now that we've discussed the grueling exercise and diet regimes that these contestants were put under, that obviously exercising 8 hours a day and eating under 1,000 calories is not sustainable for the average person. People have jobs, people have lives, people have children to care for, and even if someone worked a 9 to 5 and had no other commitments outside of it, they'd still have to exercise from 4 to 8 a.m. and 6 to 10 p.m. And not only that, but restricting your diet to under 1,000 calories in the long term is going to have such a bad impact on your body because you're starving it, because you're going to be malnourished, and you will experience the side effects of malnourishment, which can be anything from hair loss to thrush to a weakened immune system. Some people have also theorized that post-starvation hyperphagia is the reason that some of these contestants have gained the weight back, which is a hormone response to overeat after your body has been starved. But the most likely reason that a lot of these contestants have gained the weight back is to do with their metabolism. Doctors actually conducted a study with 14 of the contestants from season 6, most of whom had gained all or even more of the weight back that they'd lost on the show. And it turns out that the excessive and fast weight loss on The Biggest Loser had impacted their metabolisms and had actually slowed their resting metabolic rates. If you don't know what a resting metabolic rate or an RMR is, it's basically your metabolism when you aren't doing anything. Naturally, when your body is doing nothing, you still burn calories. And when these contestants started the show, they all had normal RMRs. And then when they finished the shows, their RMRs had dramatically slowed. And it is normal when you lose weight for your metabolism to slow. I did do the best research that I could, but obviously I'm not a doctor or a health expert, so please let me know if I've made any mistakes and correct me in the comments. But I believe that there is a certain weight which your body body can maintain with very minimal effort. So when you actively lose weight, your body will try its best to try and gain that weight back. And one way of your body doing that is slowing your metabolism. And The Biggest Loser is just a very extreme version of this. Competing on The Biggest Loser has slowed so many of these contestants' metabolisms down so much that they would have to continue exercising for 6 hours a day and really restricting their diet just to maintain the weight, just to keep the weight off. One contestant, Danny Cahill, regained 100 pounds since going on the show and yet still has to eat 800 less calories than a man of his size just to maintain that weight. The Minnesota starvation study is actually very interesting to look at in relation to this, where, to put it very simply, they got a group of adults to lose 25% of their body weight, and their metabolism actually slowed after losing 25% of their body weight, and when they regained the weight, their metabolism actually returned to normal. But it's very important to consider that on The Biggest Loser, all of these contestants were deemed to be obese or morbidly obese. By the way, if there's an alternative to the term morbidly obese, please let me know, because I don't think that morbidly obese is a very nice term, but anyways. And also it's important to consider that most of those contestants lost 40% of their body weight in a very, very short period of time. And some health experts also theorize that when you do lose a large amount of weight, your body experiences a loss of leptin hormones, which is basically the hormone which controls hunger. So after you've lost a large amount of weight, your body just feels hungry all the time. And also, whilst we're on the topic of studies, it's important to talk about how The Biggest Loser's rhetoric really impacted its viewers, because The Biggest Loser had a really strong viewership. In its best seasons, in its peak, it was raking in 10 million viewers per episode, and one study showed that just after watching one episode of The Biggest Loser, the viewers grew more of a disdain and a dislike towards overweight individuals. And from personal experience, I remember watching this show when I was 10 years old, and they do really hammer it home that being overweight or obese is the worst thing that you can be. Part 6, doing it for their health. Now, something which really grinds my gears about The Biggest Loser is that time and time again in every single episode, they paint themselves as a show which cares about the nation's health. The public's health and the people's health is at the center of everything they do, and that they just want people to be healthy and happy. But as we can tell from what I've spoken about in this video, health is the last thing they care about. Making their contestants exercise 8 hours a day and consume under 1,000 calories is not a healthy way or a sustainable way to lose weight at all. It leads to injury and malnourishment. But there are other aspects of The Biggest Loser which just prove this point further. They don't care about the health of their contestants at all, because above everything, The Biggest Loser is a reality show. So they need to create drama, tension. They need to have heroes and villains. They need to create entertainment. And to meet this criteria, The Biggest Loser contradicts its core message of health over and over again. So first of all, let's talk about the temptation challenges and just the temptation aspect of the show in general. And because The Biggest Loser is a reality show which wants to entertain its audience, it will wave temptation foods in their contestants' face whenever and wherever possible. As I said earlier, after the weigh-in, the contestants have to enter a room with labelled fridges with all of their personal temptation foods. But that's not even the worst part of the show. Another sort of temptation aspect of the show is basically forcing their contestants to eat temptation food. One example of this was there was a challenge where the contestants had to pull a food truck over a finish line, attach themselves to it with a harness. It was ridiculous. And the losing team of that challenge had to eat their lunch out of that food truck, which is basically tacos, nachos, stuff like that. And in another challenge where the contestants had to guess how many calories was in a certain food item, whatever contestant lost had to nominate someone from their team to eat that unhealthy food right after they were told how many calories was in it. And obviously there's nothing wrong with eating unhealthy food in moderation. And even if you do eat unhealthy food not in moderation, it doesn't make you a bad person. But The Biggest Loser makes their contestants put all of their self-worth in how their body looks and how much weight they've lost that week. And they also demonize unhealthy food and calories to the point where you'd think that one of these contestants would drop dead if they ate a slice of bread. And as I said in the first part of this video, it's very clear that a lot of these contestants do have eating disorders. So telling them how unhealthy and how horrible this food is for you, and then also making them put all of their self-worth into how their body looks and how much weight they've lost, and then force feeding them unhealthy food, how do you think that's going to make them feel? They're purposely sabotaging their own contestants just for entertainment. And these were always the most uncomfortable parts of the show to watch, because you could tell how visibly distressed these contestants were getting from having to eat this unhealthy food. The Biggest Loser can't preach about caring for health and demonizing all of these unhealthy foods whilst forcing their contestants to eat it for entertainment. It just doesn't make any sense. It's very clear that from what I've spoken about in both of these videos, that The Biggest Loser prioritizes how the bodies look over the actual health of the contestants. And this is further proof because there's a bloody makeover episode in every season. And it's very obvious that they value creating drama and tension and entertainment for their reality show over the health of their contestants. But obviously that isn't really much of a surprise. And speaking of reality shows, just because The Biggest Loser claims to care about health doesn't mean that it doesn't follow the same gimmicks of every other weight loss based reality show. My 600-Pound Life, Super Size versus Super Skinny, Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition, or whatever the fuck it's called. They're all shows which care to claim about health, but parade their contestants around and make them do ridiculous things. My 600-Pound Life is a really extreme version of this. They have contestants who are honestly on the verge of death. They're dying, they're desperate. And these contestants have to lose a certain amount of weight in order to get a gastric bypass or they're gonna die. And these shows exist so people can laugh at fat people under the guise of health. Roxane Gay talks about weight loss reality shows in her book Hunger. She talks about how it's constantly pushed in these shows that self-worth and happiness are inextricably linked to thinness. And also here is a quote from her book about Khloe Kardashian's show Revenge Body, where participants revenge on someone who wronged them by losing weight and getting into shape. It's a hell of a thing, this idea that the way to truly settle old scores is to get thinner and fitter. The very premise of the show suggests that if you're fat, the people who have wronged you are probably gloating and reveling in your circumstance. And what The Biggest Loser does, which especially pisses me off, is they fabricate drama. And I know that isn't a surprise. A majority of reality shows, or all reality shows, fabricate drama to an extent. But how is giving one of your contestants the villain edit supposed to help them on their health journey? Kai Hibbard said in an interview that one of the contestants from her season, Heather, was given the villain edit and made to look like a combative, lazy bitch, when in reality she had a torn calf muscle and had developed bursitis in both knees. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I feel like this is a very obvious thing to say, but The Biggest Loser creates eating disorders. As far as I'm aware, but obviously don't hold me to this because I haven't watched all of the episodes of The Biggest Loser, that eating disorders are very rarely mentioned on the show. And when the contestants decide to confide to their personal trainers about any sort of trauma that they've experienced in their life, you know, they're telling this to personal trainers. They aren't therapists. There's only so much good advice that these personal trainers can give. And The Biggest Loser constantly demonizes calories and carbs. The contestants get verbally abused while they're exercising. They put such an insurmountable amount of pressure on their contestants that they will inevitably put all of their self-worth into how much weight they've lost. You regularly see contestants getting upset for losing only 7 pounds because other contestants are losing 20 pounds. Which is the reality that one of us is. It's too soon. The way the contestants are treated and the amount of pressure that they're put under, an eating disorder is just inevitable. And another thing which I find just so hypocritical, which really gets under my skin, is Jillian Michaels, one of the personal trainers. She got into a little bit of heat, I think it was last year or the year before, because she basically body shamed Lizzo. She said, you know, the same old rhetoric which people say about Lizzo, that she's promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, blah, blah, you guys get the gist. Doesn't it just have that extra bit of sting when Jillian Michaels, the woman who verbally abused their contestants and has possibly irreversibly damaged so many contestants' metabolisms, and one of her finalists was pissing blood towards the end of the competition? But she wants to talk about health. Oh, but you want to talk about health now, Jillian. Part 7, The Biggest Loser Empire and Product Placement. I know that a lot of you guys are young and you're probably thinking that The Biggest Loser was just a bad, of its time reality show. I want you guys to realize how big this thing was, because at the peak of its popularity, The Biggest Loser had built an empire for itself and was pushing branded products and experiences at any chance they got. The Biggest Loser wasn't just a reality show, it became a brand. And if you were overweight and watching The Biggest Loser, where the trainers are telling you over and over again that there is a skinny person inside of you waiting to come out, you're gonna want to lose weight, and The Biggest Loser capitalizes on those exact viewers. Firstly, even though The Biggest Loser was originally an American reality show, unfortunately it did not stay that way. The Biggest Loser had many international versions, such as Algeria, Argentina, Asia, Arab states, Australia, Brazil, Puerto Rico, China, Croatia, Finland, Germany, Poland, Hungary, India, Israel, Jordan, Latvia, Mexico, Netherlands, Norway, Peru, and the United Kingdom. But back onto the topic of The Biggest Loser products. The Biggest Loser had all sorts of products like exercise DVDs, exercise plans, cookbooks, protein shakes, resistance bands, digital weight scales, calorie counters, and some of my personal favorite Biggest Loser products: The Biggest Loser Grill and Panini Maker, The Biggest Loser Workout Mix Country Hits, and The Biggest Loser Wii Game, which I think is the most chronically 2008 thing I've ever seen. And lastly, I can't talk about Biggest Loser products without talking about The Biggest Loser Resort, which is still up and running, so I'm gonna assume that it's popular or it's a money laundering scheme. That was a joke, by the way, that was a joke, please don't sue me. Where for $3,000 a week, you can take part in a sustainable weight loss program, which is very weird because The Biggest Loser was the opposite of sustainable weight loss. But anyways, but maybe they're trying to avoid being sued. Where you can learn exercise and fitness, nutrition and healthy eating, wellness education, relaxation and rejuvenation, and community and camaraderie. Sorry. I'm just thinking of the Azealia Banks song now. And this is how huge the show was, that people would shell out thousands of dollars to go to one of their resorts or boot camps. The Biggest Loser essentially became a cash cow over anything else. And on top of The Biggest Loser becoming a money-making machine, one of the personal trainers, Jillian Michaels, ended up building a real empire for herself. She has her own website, which features a fitness app and a blog and a chat forum and recipes and also like before and after photos. She also has a podcast as well. And she also did other reality shows outside of The Biggest Loser, such as a spin-off called Losing It with Jillian and her own reality show called Just Jillian, and her estimated net worth is $18 million. And The Biggest Loser did not just make money from their branded products, they basically became infamous for non-stop product placement. In 2010, they had the most product placement of any other show in the US. And in 2021, they came second place just before American Idol with 533 occurrences of product placement. And let me tell you guys from personal experience, it's just as unnatural every single time. You know, it will literally, I'm not even joking guys, it will be something along the lines of like, you know guys, trying to stop eating temptation foods can be the hardest part in your weight loss journey. I know that a lot of you guys have experienced some really real traumatic events in your life, but with Yoplait yogurts, which are not only low fat and low calorie, you can beat off those temptations. Guys, there is so much product placement on this show that it's even become a joke amongst actual avid viewers of the show. Even fans of the show don't take it seriously. One of my personal favorite product placements was the brand Ziploc. Seeing these personal trainers and the host running in circles, like literally jumping through rings, trying to explain the health benefits of a Ziploc bag, but not just any Ziploc bag, a Ziploc bag. And they'll make up some dumb thing like, oh, you can actually perfectly fit 100 calorie snacks in this Ziploc bag. What stage of capitalism is this? I personally feel like the constant pushing of product placement along with pushing their own branded products obviously proves that The Biggest Loser cares about making money over the health of its audience and the health of its contestants. Part 8. 2000s diet culture. Now that I've discussed everything to do with the show, I now want to sort of finish off this video with talking about 2000s diet culture, because The Biggest Loser was very clearly a symptom of this, hence why it came back in 2021 and either no one's interested or people are really pissed off. The Biggest Loser obviously didn't start 2000s diet culture, but it definitely contributed heavily to it and capitalized from it. I grew up in the 2000s. I was born in 1998 and I remember 2000s diet culture very vividly. It was a time when there was no body positivity movement. I remember the first body positivity ad I saw, I think was a Dove ad in 2010. And by body positive, I mean it just didn't have skinny people on it. And the body type at the time was just to be really skinny and occasionally have really big fake boobs. And 2000s diet culture was definitely the aftermath of heroin chic in the 90s, where basically it was a trend to be so skinny that you looked like you did heroin. I wish I was joking. Very skinny but troubled celebrities were harassed and hounded by the media and paparazzi like Nicole Richie and Lindsay Lohan, but were also simultaneously idolized and put on a pedestal. Victoria's Secret fashion shows were really popular, and any celebrity which was bigger than a UK size 6 was considered to not have a good body. I remember very clearly that Jessica Simpson and Britney Spears were torn to shreds by gossip magazines. And gossip magazines, oh my god, let's talk about that. I read so many gossip magazines growing up and oh my god, they used to have lists of who had a good body and who had a bad body and would just tear celebrities to shreds if they had one roll or a little bit of cellulite. 2000s diet culture was never about health, but also it never claimed to be. It was just shamelessly fat phobic. And when diet culture started to phase out slightly and health and wellness started to take the forefront, a lot of shows and companies began to follow suit, including The Biggest Loser, but it was just extremely transparent. Like you could tell that The Biggest Loser obviously prioritized the thinness of their contestants and entertainment for the viewers over anything else. And of course there have been small improvements since the 2000s, but it does seem like instead of idealizing really skinny bodies, we now idealize BBL bodies, which I know is a whole different debate for a whole nother day, which both are considered to be unattainable by the average person. So some people think we've made progress, but other people think that we've just gone round in a circle. There definitely has been some progression in the body positivity movement, but also the word fat is still used as an insult, and people use the term fat on themselves if they think they look bad. The ideal body, although, you know, slightly bigger than a UK size 6, still needs to be absolutely flawless. So no cellulite, no rolls, things which are, you know, completely normal parts of a human body. We see influencers with millions of followers posting weight loss pictures and before and after pictures and expressing in the caption how much they hate their old bodies, even though there are probably thousands of girls and women who have that same old body and they don't even think to consider how that might make them feel. And obviously I want to, you know, address the privilege that I have in this conversation, that I am someone who's talking about the body positivity movement and 2000s diet culture, and I'm skinny, and obviously I definitely want to address that first. And I am going a little bit off script here, but obviously it's easy for me to sit here and talk about something this sensitive like fat phobia and diet culture when it hasn't affected me the same way as so many other people. I'm just re-recording this because the way I said it in the video like came across not the way that I wanted it to. Researching and scripting and just making this video, it wasn't a nice experience, obviously. It was really uncomfortable and just, you know, not nice because fat phobia and anti-fat bias is a very sensitive topic. And I still found this video difficult to make despite me not being directly affected by it. So I can't imagine how hard it must be for people who are affected by this and have actually had to live through all of this. Basically, I just wanted to say that I'm like really sorry to anyone that has had to experience this because I can't imagine the pain that you feel. But yeah, no, to conclude this video, bloody hell. Thank you guys for watching. The Biggest Loser was a shitty, horrible show. And there's a lot of progress to be made in the body positivity movement. But I do hope that for a lot of you guys, oh my God, I'm still getting emotional. I really do hope that for a lot of you guys that this channel and this video could maybe be a safe space. So keep it nice in the comments, please, guys. I will see you guys soon for a new video. Bye.